Welcome. We're glad you joined us again for another one of our AMA, Ask Me Anything, or should we say Ask Us Anything, times together with Tutor Doctor. We have Jessica Bush from Tutor Doctor of North Jersey. We have Byron Zom from Tutor Doctor Albuquerque, but serving all of New Mexico. And I'm Chris Leon, serving the San Diego County office of Tutor Doctor. So we're glad you joined us today. The date is August 9th. 2023 in the afternoon as we come to you live, or if you're seeing it recorded, that's what this information is as of. So we're glad you're here with us today. One of the main topics we're going to discuss today is the urgency, both professionally and personally discovered, about the SAT and the ACT practice test sites being very limited in several locations around the US. So particularly in the San Diego County area, just a quick synopsis. I have a son who is entering 11th grade, and he's been doing his SAT prep all summer. And it turns out that when he went to register, there were no test sites within 150 miles for the August SAT, which was a disappointment because we were really targeting that. So the October test site, he would have to drive to, which he did register. He'll be driving 2 hours out of town. The November test site, he has to drive about 45 minutes out of town. And then fortunately, there were just a very small handful of test sites available for December for the SAT. And we didn't check the ACT because he's focused, as we always recommend, on one of the exams. And for him, SAT was there. But we wanted to urge you about that. We were going to discuss a little bit why that may or may not be applicable to where you live. But nonetheless, we do recommend you register for your specific exam right away. So Jessica, have you been hearing similar things in New Jersey?
Yes, it's been happening. Well, like I think we were talking about earlier, ever since COVID. But now, because the August test especially is so popular, especially around here, the August test sells out almost immediately. So I had a kid, and if you guys know the Jersey Shore, I had a kid who couldn't get a placement anywhere. So what his mom decided was they were going to take a little short vacation down to the beach in Wildwood, and he would register down there. And guess what happened? His score was the highest score he had. So I kind of sometimes use that story, because he was kind of on a vacation mode. He had a lot of prep. He was ready, but he was relaxed. He wasn't stressed, and he had the highest score. So yeah, it was about 2.5 hours away. They had to register. I've had people go to Pennsylvania. I've had people go up toward upstate New York. Yeah.
Well,
that's why it's important, right, Byron, to be on top of your testing dates and register.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to, check it out and get started, registering right and just plan ahead. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Unfortunately, I don't have the dilemma that you guys seem to be having in your markets here. But I did check, and, I've got 3 test centers for the SAT that are open and available. So that's a good thing, but that doesn't mean that won't change, right? Because, if there's people start getting the message, especially in light of, all the many changes that are coming up here in the spring, and there's a deluge of registrations, well, that's going to change, really, really, really quick. So yes, as far as ACT, I don't know, because, you got to actually register to find out. So point being, you need to register and find out what's available for you and plan ahead.
Exactly. And Jessica, you're a student that went down to the Jersey Shore, and how could you be nervous when you're going to the beach, right? And who knows, maybe he thought Snooki had a test.
Could have been. He might have seen Snooki. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one thing too, that in your area, I think it's somewhat back to normal. And Byron, I think in your area reasonably, but in California, there are an additional couple of wrinkles, as a lot of folks might have heard. I mean, the University of California system of 9 campuses, and the CSUs, which I believe are 23 campuses, so well over 30, they're all test blind. So if I can imagine, if you're the College Board or if you're ACT organization, and in any classic business sense, I'm trying to figure out what demand am I going to have so that I can, as economically as possible, create the right supply. Then I think that from that perspective, it might be rather difficult as they're trying to figure out what is it. So that might be why we have a dearth of test sites here, especially in California, for that. But the demand has really come up. And then one other point I'll just mention, I think there's sort of a currency effect here in that it's starting to become well known that the SAT, as we've known it since 1937, is ceasing after December, right? The paper format. So a lot of people are scrambling right now if they're going to take the SAT. And so I think that's another reason why we're seeing a big uptick in supply. And if it's coincident with demand, any of our Econ 101 tutors out there would tell you, yeah, it's going to be very difficult. So anyway, we just wanted to kick it off with that initial sort of recommendation or urging to register for the really out to the end of the calendar year, whatever exams a student will be taking.
Well, and I think the message to parents out there is make sure you're on top of when your kids have to register and if there's availability. Because I know for us here in the New York metro area, there's a lot less ACT testing sites than there are schools. Most schools do SAT, but they do not do ACT. So there's less ACT availability. So you got to be on top of it. You know, as far as relying on your kids to tell you if they're going to register or not, you need to really be on top of it.
I would also make the point too about registering for multiple dates, right? So if you have a highly motivated student, you know, and they see the value in taking multiple tests, well, you might want to register not just for one, but for, you know, 2 or 3 that are coming up down the road and get your spot reserved.
Plan the whole thing out, not
That's
just
right.
one.
And of course,
plan
that's
ahead.
what we're doing right here, right? At Tutor Doctor is we're actually, you know, putting a plan together with our students of what makes the most sense for them to put them in the best possible position.
Yep. We have a question, guys. Is there an issue if the student registers and then doesn't show up for an exam?
Well, by issue, if that means, are you going to be in some form of trouble? No.
Well, you pay. I mean, you're
You
paying for a
pay, you would
seat
forfeit it.
and you lose your money, obviously.
Right. Now right. That's if you just decide, no, I'm not going
Right.
to do it, or I got cold feet, or, you know,
Or you're sick
whatever.
or whatever.
Right. But if you, in the days preceding the official exam, if you contact either College Board or ACT and say, we've got an illness, or, you know, there's a family emergency or something of that nature, many times you can defer, reschedule. Whether they grant you partial or full credit back, that's situational, but it's always better to contact them in advance. If you know you'll be unable, meaning if there's a sports contest or some other thing happening that's a conflict, oh yeah, contact them as soon as you know, because there's a very deep wait list for all of these exams, and it, you know, just sort of ethically, it does free up a seat for another student who would like to take that.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that they have not been able to get a refund or not been able to, so you just have to try. I mean, the squeaky wheel, right? So whoever gets on there and tries to get a refund, or no, I mean, there's no issue. The issue is that your student misses the test.
Yeah,
and our plan that we have gets all thrown off.
And that registration fee is $60, right? So how much do you value that? But the other thing though too is, while we're talking about registering for these tests though, maybe Chris, you or Jess want to speak to it, the opportunity to make a request for the score report, right? Detailed score report.
Yes.
Yeah, there are, not every SAT or ACT is the same.
Right.
The ACT, for instance, they have what they call the TIR, or oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the acronym on live TV. Test Information Release, I think, is what TIR stands for. But that's when you can get more comprehensive answers. I mean, I believe you pay a small amount, like 15 or 20,
you pay a fee.
something like that.
Yeah.
But you get additional insights in addition to just correct or incorrect scores. So that way, if you are going to take the exam, the recommended 2 or even 3 times, you can learn from that official exam experience. So, and then the SAT has very similar thing. Now it's about, 50% of the exams, I think, in either case, that come up with that more comprehensive.
Right. There are
test
certain
reporting.
test dates where you can get what's called the QAS, the question.
You have
and
to go to their websites to confirm.
Right. I think it's March, and I'm not exactly sure, but there are specific test dates that offer you the QAS and certain ones that do not.
Right. And September for the ACT, the TIR, September is one of the test dates for that. So yeah, definitely. So if that's of value to you, if nothing else, then maybe that might be a reason why while you're listening to this, you log onto another screen and go in and register for it, just so you'll have that access. Because if you wait until the October event, you may not have that access.
And for us as test prep tutor and planners for you, it's so important to have that data. If you can get the details, because it helps your tutor and it helps your student, right?
Yeah, and that's why I encourage our students to pay the extra, whatever it is, 20, 25 bucks or whatever it is, to get that report, because we'll use the real hard data, adjust our plan, modify our plan, and keep that student moving forward and progressing. If that few dollars, whatever it is, it's worth it. Spent.
So worth it.
One other partial answer to that question, Jessica and Byron. Somebody's probably, I can hear them right now. Somebody's saying, why would I want to take it more than once? Well, the reason is many colleges, in fact, this is actually one of the things that did not decrease as a result of COVID, is super scoring, where you actually think of it as cherry picking the best scores for each of the different sections on the exams you took. ACT, let's say your first time, the reading section was the highest, the second time math, and the third time your science section had the highest score. Well, you combine them, so instead of not exceeding or cracking, say, a 30 on any individual test, when you sort of cherry pick or super score those exams together, you might end up with a 33, for instance, right? And that leads directly to admission success and scholarship award potentials. So that's another reason why it's in most students' best interest to take the exam, even up to 3 times.
Yep. Yeah, but we recommend no more than 3, because then, especially if you want to go to some sort of an engineering or a program like that, they look at, oh, they've taken it 4 times. That means he's been really working on it, and that it's not necessarily, you kind of lose it along the way. Taking it more than 3 is not recommended by any of my tutors. That's for sure.
But taking it multiple times, though, demonstrates the kind of initiative.
Yes, they're working on it.
That they're looking for, right? Those leadership qualities. So yes. Mm-hmm.
So I think that we, big message on this one is go register. Have your student register, know what the registration dates are, know what's open in your area, and plan ahead, especially now that we're getting everybody, to try to take the SAT before December, by December.
Right.
And if necessary, be willing to travel whatever is a reasonable amount. Here in San Diego, through the years, we have had a number of students that have had to go to Riverside County, Orange County, or even up into LA County to take an exam. And sometimes they've made it a little bit of a staycation as well, the family going up there. But yeah, you might need to do that. It's inconvenient, but have the big picture in mind. What are our college admissions goals? And as Jessica and Byron said, the plan, right? Sometimes if we start a little late on any individual element of the plan, we still have to keep focus on what the overall plan means. So
does anyone have any questions out there? Because this is a pretty cut and dry topic. So I think maybe we should keep it short and to the point, and let's come on next time and do another really hot topic.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it. Hey, I'm glad I could join you guys here. Good to see you out there in Jersey. So folks, reach out to Tutor Doctor if you're in the San Diego area, North Jersey area, or right here in New Mexico. We'd love to help you put a college plan together with your test prep. Look down below, you'll see all our phone numbers where you can reach us directly. 800-488-8677 is a main or national number you can reach us. But thanks so much for spending time with us.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yep.
And as they say, smash that like button, please.
Thanks.